And it was, so I think that is the very long answer to your question.
That's fantastic. That's a great answer. Ross, coming right to you. What, in being in a horror show on a small screen, how has it affected you? What's one of your favorite memories?
Oh man. So I wasn't a Spanish teacher, but I was doing every other odd job under the sun. I was a cater waiter. I posed for art classes.
I did that.
You did that too?
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Naked?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, you gotta do. I mean, I did medical studies, so they tested non-FDA approved drugs on my body to make sure that they were okay for the mass public. I did that for many years.
Were they?
No, a lot of them were not. Actually, the last one I did was it was like right before I got on the show. Actually, it was like 7-8 years ago, and it was to test the efficacy of this drug that would treat MRSA, like really bad staph infection. If you get it after like 2 or 3 weeks, if it's not caught, you're going to die. And so this was meant to like jumpstart your immune system. And we were in the study for 30 days straight. It was like basically being in jail. I was like rooming with ex-cons, literally, like bunking with them. But like we were in there for 30 days straight. You were only allowed outside for 15 minutes a day to walk around. And they had this, sorry if anyone's squeamish, but we had like an IV in us 24/7, just dripping this stuff. And everyone dropped out except for me and this other person. Of the 20 people in the trial, there was only 2 of us left. And I had a red spot on my stomach for like 8 months after that. It was bad. They told me after the study, they're like, please don't drink for the next year. And I was like, what are you getting me? So,
and the fact that you stuck it out to be the last 2, what a battle of wills at that point.
When you're broke and you're desperate, you do dumb stuff, and I did some dumb stuff back then. But I guess my point is like, you never know where life is going to take you. And to what you're saying too is like, I was so ready to give up so many times in my life, and then this show came along and really just saved my ass. So I'm very grateful. I mean, the notion that people want to meet me is like the weirdest thing ever. I'm still kind of baffled by like, you want to meet me in a picture? I was like, okay, cool. I mean, that's great, but it's just still very odd, because I was very close to giving up just 7 years ago. So you never know what life's going to take you, is all I guess.
Yep, that's why you keep going on.
Yeah.
We're all in it together. Hashtag.
Hey.
Brian, same to you, sir. So you obviously Charmed, huge show. Horror-ish, it was definitely a horror show, dealing with witches, demons, angels. So how did it affect your life?
Well, I think like you, I was doing a lot of different jobs. Actually, the day I auditioned for Charmed, I was retrofitting a house, and I walked in, and I had met Aaron Spelling a few times. So I had this keen idea that I was going to kind of lead the conversation, be like, "Good to see you again." Like, remember me? And I said that, and he looked up and he's like, "Oh, Brian, nice to meet you." And in this moment, I just had this like, "Nice to meet me?" Like, you met me. And I was instantly pissed. I'm like, this industry sucks. Everything about this sucks. I'm working construction. This whole thing, I have to stop. Like, I have to stop chasing this dream, right? This is stupid. And I gave this reading that was like so not Leo, like this angry, they're like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." Blah, 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 blah. And I said, "Is that it? Are you done? Is that it? Okay, thanks." And I just walked out. And they called me about an hour later and said, "You got it." And, my life changed. And, it's amazing that, it's that letting go of caring so much, but at the same time, doing it. I mean, it's life-changing. It's a goal that I always had, and, for it to come true, it's just, dreams come true. We're just regular people with an idea of wanting to do something. And, the fact that it happens is, it's kind of out of our hands, but at the same time, pushing that energy and believing, and magic happens. And, so the whole run of the show is really a fond memory of, the family that you make, from the crew to the cast members to, the tears of, it's you run the gamut of emotions. So it's amazing, because I was this close to just walking away and, I don't know, doing construction for the rest of my life. Like, maybe taking a Spanish class. I don't know. So it's, the whole thing's just very, very grateful. I feel blessed.
That's fantastic. Yeah. We're blessed to have been able to witness all of you. So we're here for that. Does anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to bring up to our panelists? Any stories? Anybody curious? Negative. All right, cool. Always just checking, just make sure. So what was one of the, for me personally, I've been through some things and I'm always curious as to what other people get scared by. So what are some of the scariest things or one of the scariest things that pops in your head that has happened on set to you?
Well, I can't say in what, but I thought I was going to be blind a week ago today. Yeah, true story. I was injured on set, and you'll see it on TV soon. I'm not saying I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, but you'll see it, and you'll be like, I heard about that. But I basically had a prosthetic eye, and it was an effect where there was like basically a keg of blood that came up through my backside, not.
It's a different story.
Yeah.
Human centipede?
Anyway, there was like tubing that kind of went underneath the eye and then was to, squirt out. And it went great for the camera, not so much for me. It kind of pooled underneath this piece. And I'm not sure if it was not supposed to or not, but there was, basically my eye wasn't securely shut underneath this piece. So I could kind of flutter it underneath. And I mentioned to the makeup people, like, I could feel this stuff sort of sloshing around underneath there. Like, is that normal? And they said, well, let's just try to, sop that up. So they basically made a little incision in my in the piece, and it's a hilarious video where you basically see a Q-tip just kind of going into my head and coming out with like fake blood, and they would do that until it was clean, and which was great. Although we don't know if it was like the chemicals inside that were sloshing around that burnt my cornea, or if it was the Q-tip that just grazed it. But I got an abrasion on my cornea, and it was insanely painful. And this happened halfway through the day, and I still had 9 hours of shooting left. Thankfully, at that point, I hit my marks, and I was just, dead at that point because I literally couldn't see. I couldn't see. So, which is fine. I didn't need to see to be dead. They just needed to place me, but it was really bad. I was, I literally thought I was going to lose my eyesight, and it was kind of scary.
Yeah, it's
if
pretty
you're
terrifying.
to answer the question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really terrifying. Nobody wants to deal with eye stuff.
I had made a full recovery. So yeah, you would not even recognize it.
Yeah, fantastic. Wow, yeah, that is really terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was.
Ross, I'm sure you've dealt with prosthetics, so.
Listen, that sounds really rough, but I got a paper cut one time on set.
Did you happen to get citrus in it?
It hurt so bad, and yes, I did.
Oh, truth. No.
It hurt really, really bad. So top that.
Yeah. Was it on your eyeball?
I gotta hang
I'm like, I can't top that story. That's amazing. I mean, I don't want to top that story. That
No,
sounds
you
terrifying.
don't. Yeah.
No, I mean that's awful. I
Yeah.
can't imagine.
Yeah.
That felt like.
I mean, it's not a competition.
It sounds like it is a competition.
I think she already won. I don't know.
It has to
We're
get
gonna do
progressively
now.
worse.
You're going to need to start the questions down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
clearly. My bad.
No, I don't have anything like that.
You lost your arm.
Oh, that's true. I did lose my arm a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
So that was harrowing.
The new one looks great.
Thank you so much. I put some ointment on it and grew right back.
Delightful.
Yeah, delightful.
It's all those trial drugs I gave you.
Yeah. New limbs everywhere. But no, I don't. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Man. I think the scariest thing that ever happened, I did this movie years ago in Wells, New York, and it's Wellesley School. It's supposed to, the whole town is supposed to be haunted. And of course, we're doing this 5 actors in a 1-room movie, and we all decide to get a Ouija board and go up to the attic and mess with it. Nope. So I don't do devil stuff. I don't do any of that stuff, and Ouija boards freak me out. But we're there, and we're sitting there, and there's a mattress like leaned up against the wall, and we're over here, and in the middle of it, this mattress just falls over, like this way, which it didn't slide down, it fell over, and we Scooby-Dooed it, and we were out of there, man.
Leaving dust
Out of
trails.
there. So we get up the next morning. My buddy's like, dude, we should go see like what caused that. I'm like, I ain't not go back into the attic. He's like, come on, let's go. And we go up there, and right where we're sitting, there's 3 dead birds. One that's like all still feathered, and one that's like all gashed, and one that's like a skeleton. Like 3 different stages of death that weren't, it's like right where we were sitting. And man, if we didn't just leave, and I mean, that stuck with me forever. Like, I don't play with Ouija boards, I don't touch them, I don't look at them, I don't do any of that. And that was probably like on set, like scary, like I wasn't injured, I could see the dead birds. So, but man, scary. Ouija boards, I know some people are into it, but I don't know that. Freaky.
The birds is the part that.
The birds.
Like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's a really strange follow-up there.
I mean,
why would, yeah.
And I was thinking like, well, maybe somebody put them there, knowing to mess with us. And I'm like, well, nobody's been up. We were there, we went out, we came back.
It's a really elaborate joke.
I'm like, is there a cat messing with us? Like, I don't know.
Cat's like pushing that.
I don't, ghosts and devil stuff and Ouija.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're into it. Oh, yeah, no.
It was me.
So that was probably the scariest that thing, but didn't involve an injury, just emotional harm.
They can still be an injury, just because you can't see it. Now, for Naomi, out of all of the seasons of AHS you're on, how does the tone change in shooting each season, considering they deal with different worlds of horror? So for you, like your character changes and what you have to go through with each season changing, what's that like? What's the evolution of that for you?
I mean, yes, every season does have a different tone, but I don't think that really affects. It can affect the way you approach a character, but in my case, in terms of like Pepper, she's the same person from one season to the other. So just because Asylum was a little darker and Freak Show was a little more, colorful and maybe more humanity-ish, that doesn't change me. You know what I mean? Like, Pepper's Pepper, just like Naomi is the same whether, we're in pandemic times or before time, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
so, I was having to think about, this is Pepper in the asylum. This is 16 years before at the orphanage. Like, so yes, that will affect the character, but the tone of the show didn't affect her. And honestly, when I came back for Apocalypse, I played a different character. But they just threw me in there. I didn't even know what the theme was of the show when I was coming in. Like, it was one of those things where I was having to watch the fan, Facebook tubes, because I didn't know either. So we're not really aware of the tone. The directors and the writers and producers are obviously, and I'm probably the series writers, unfortunately it was not one of them, but actually I don't even think they know. I think it's really just the creators that are in on those tone meetings, and we're the last to find out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know.
No, absolutely. I appreciate that. Thanks for the answer. For Ross, playing Aaron from when we first met him until now, how do you prepare the character going into new seasons Sorry,
Oh.
because the character has been through so much. So like every season growing so much, and especially with a show that's gone on this long, and you've been such a massive part of it for so long. So how do you take that in?
It's wild because I was showing the first episode to a friend recently because she'd never seen the show, and she actually didn't know I was on the show. I hadn't seen her for 12 years, a friend from college, and we reunited. She was like, "Wait, what do you work on?" I'm like, "Oh, it's the Walking Dead." And she's like, "Oh, I've never seen that." I'm like, "Cool, all right." And I showed her an episode, and I looked at that guy from 2014, clean shaven, and like obviously much more innocent and everything. And I'm like, man, that guy, not only Aaron, but I think myself too, like, such a different shift. I mean, I think so many things have shifted for that character, and he's been through so much. And I love that they're giving him more darkness and more shit to go through because of stuff to go through. Because I think it's more fun. It's more fun to play people that are either villains or just complex characters that are like wrestling with guilt and shame and adversity. I think those are always way more fun to play. So I love that he's been through as much as he has because it's more me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answer.
Of course.
Brian, now with your seasons and your years with your show, how did you feel you were able to progress your character through that and how you came out on the other side? Like what you learned from years of being on a popular hit
I
TV
was
show?
just trying to stay alive. Like every guy that came on to Charm, if you watch it, like came in, died, went away. So, at the end of every season, I was always kind of cliffhanger. Like, is he gonna die? Is he coming back? So, I had no idea if I was coming back or not. They're like, you are. I'm like, well, then why did you freeze me and die? I'm dead at the end of the last episode of every freaking season. So literally was just trying to stay alive. Leo's Leo. I was the angel, so it was. I think the through line for my character the whole time never really changed. Protecting the girls, protecting my family, protecting my wife, my children. Which was nice for me being a dad with a young boy at the same time. It was nice to be the guy with the good moral message and the protector. Not much progression. I mean, episode to episode, it always changed because, you're possessed by a demon or this came in or now you're a gremlin or whatever happened. So, we would always have an arc every episode. But season to season, I think, I was the guide, the protector. So, and that really never changed for Leo, really.
Thank you very much for your answer. I appreciate it. Now, once again, being in these popular television series and popular shows, how has this changed all of your names in the industry? Like, do you feel it's given you more clout? Is horror maybe not the avenue that people think it is for the projects you're looking for? Or, so Naomi, start with that.
How did it change my name? Well, I prefer Queen. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry,
Oh,
Queen.
yes.
I mean, yeah, it has. No, but you're right. It's weird to me because I used to be profesora, and I'm not anymore. But I also was mostly known for, or not known, I should say, for doing comedy. Like I did, I was at the Groundlings, which is a comedy theater in Los Angeles. A lot of, SNL people came out of there. It was kind of the kind of factory where, Kristen Wiig was there while I was there and Melissa McCarthy was there while I was there. And, and it was one of those things where I would perform every Sunday, like kind of hoping Lauren Michaels might be in the audience. And anyway, but that was the trajectory I kind of had in mind. And so the fact that they were like, oh, you do comedy? I'm like, really? Like, have you met me? You know what I mean? So it's weird that people don't know this, what I thought was like the most obvious thing about me, which is cool because I feel like it's my superpower. Like it's this thing that I get to like, oh, and there's this, which is neat.
Yeah.
I've been working over the pandemic on a new show, which I've written. It's my baby, and I'm excited to see where that goes. But it's a chance for me to kind of marry it all because it's definitely a love letter to fans and to the show. But it also is hilarious. So people are gonna, finally get to see me
See your truth.
behind the prosthetics. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Ross?
How has it changed? So I mostly did a lot of like voiceover, like animation stuff and impressions, back in the day. And that's funny because like I actually auditioned for SNL, didn't get it, obviously. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to give it back to them, because I was like so dead set on getting SNL. And I never thought I would wind up on a dark zombie show, like that was, and I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but like my first ever gig in the industry was as your body double. Do you remember me telling you this? So like I was an extra, and I was about to stop doing extra work, and then Central Casting called me like, "How tall are you?" I'm like, 6 foot. Like, "Yeah, you're about Brian Krause's height." I was like, "Okay." And then I went there and they approved. They went with me and 6 other guys, and they're like, "Yeah, you'll do." And I did like 3 or 4 episodes, and I got my SAG card. And
From
then
Charmed?
from Charmed, yeah. And then I was like, bye. All I wanted was that SAG card, and I was doing extra work for like 2 years. I was like, I just want the SAG card. I just want the damn thing. And then I got the thing, and I was like, I'm done doing extra work. But yeah, it was playing his body double.
Did you have to do like naked stuff? I don't know.
My butt is amazing. Thank you.
No.
It is.
Yeah, no.
Nude model, don't forget.
Right.
No, there was a lot of scheduling stuff, I guess. So like, sometimes.
Brian was too busy to turn around.
Sometimes like there was stuff like they needed to film a lot of stuff simultaneously,
Right.
and they would have me and other body doubles come in and just like, yeah. So it's weird. Yeah, that was like 2005.
Wow.
Yeah. Weird, but
That's
anyway,
incredible.
it's just weird. I think we all have like kind of similar stories, like the trajectory of our lives. You don't have any idea what's coming around the corner until you just live it.
Yeah.
Until you just keep going. And I don't know what the lesson is, because it's not never give up. It's like, there were certainly times where I definitely gave up and wanted to just run away from Hollywood altogether. But I don't know. I just want to keep doing it as long as it's fun. As long as it's not bad for my mental health.
That's the most important part.
Exactly.
Yep, if you enjoy doing it, you're making money. Keep
Yeah.
on rocking. And you're entertaining a lot of people. So it's fantastic. Now, Brian, same question to you. How has it kind of changed your trajectory? Like, or what focus did you think you were going towards? What path were you headed?
It's funny, even when I started, I did the Return of the Blue Lagoon, which was like, and that changed everything. Like, oh, you're the naked guy in the Blue Lagoon movie. You can't act, you can't anything, right? And then I got Sleepwalkers, and then it was like, oh, you're a horror guy, but you're in films. And then I did some commercials and some TV stuff. And it's like, oh, well, you ruined your film career. And there's always this ideology and that Hollywood is judging you for what you do, right? So then I went from there and it didn't work for a bit, and I did a soap for 6 months. And it's like, oh, you're a soap guy. Right? And then did some TV guest spots. Oh, he's a TV guest spot guy. And then I get Charmed, and now I'm Leo. And, that's been a big thing with casting. It's like, oh, he can't come in. No, he's Leo. I'm this nice guy, like this, I'm Leo. And that's changed, what I've been able to go in for and what I get brought in for quite a bit. Typecast, I don't know what that is, but I think every time, you do this little sci-fi movie, you do this thing, this little horror, and, I think the industry seems to peg us as this more than the audience. You guys, we want to see people do all sorts of roles, right? But our industry seems to be like, oh, well, he's the horror guy, or she's dramatic, she's not a comedian, she's, you know what I mean? And they put us in these holes, and then we start to believe it. And I think just like you, like this last year, like, wanting to give up, like, getting really close on these roles that, I want, recurring, this is going to change my life. And then I didn't get it. And I'm like, now my life is over. And I hate me. And I'm the worst. And maybe it's over. It's over. And a pandemic. And I'm stuck in my house with my kid. And it's like, I'm like, maybe it's done. And I go through that quite a bit. Not getting a role, not doing a thing. I'm Leo, and how do you break out of that? And it starts with me, really, just believing and saying screw it. Everything that's happened in the past is the past, and you just got to somehow keep going forward. But it's changed, it's trying not to be the same over and over. But then, you look at some actors, like they make that niche work. Like I'm that guy, and they keep the same haircut for 30 years, and they sell their brand, right? And I don't know that that's me or anything, but so I'm growing the hair and trying to get tough. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be a tough guy. And then I'm like, what? I don't really believe. I don't know if that's me. So I go through this whole thing. I'm an actor. What do you want? I beat myself up a lot, believing what other people may have an idea of us. And I was having this conversation last night, and it was that oftentimes we believe what I'm thinking about what you might be thinking about me.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm projecting onto myself what you're not even thinking, but what I think you might be thinking. And we do that in our industry a lot. Like, oh, they don't like me because of my hair, because I don't have abs, because I didn't do this. And, we're sitting here beating ourselves up for something that nobody's even really thinking, because everybody's really just thinking about themselves, right? I mean, let's truth be told, right?
Well, constantly.
We're all just thinking about our own world. So, but, as an actor, I think we take that all on, and, like, oh my gosh, they must hate me because my hair, because my thing, my stuff. And, I do it a lot. And, this is kind of the process I've been learning through the pandemic. It's like, none of it matters. None of it matters. I love me, and that's all that matters.
That's the most important thing. It's so valuable to have that.
Typecast me, let me be Leo. I don't give a rat's ass, and I'm just going to keep going forward. So the fact that I'm able to play Leo and that was a thing or whatever that is, then great. I'll be Grandpa Leo someday.
I relate to that too, because there were so many people who were like, yeah, okay, but let's say she's a pinhead. Like, what are we gonna do with that? I'm like, literally, I can do anything.
Right.
Like, that's just one thing. Like, I've never done it before. Probably never do it again. Like, if I'm supposed to be like pigeonholed into this one little thing, like I'm literally. So that's why I got that exact same thing. People saying, like, but what else can she do? It's like, did I not just show you, like, I can literally do anything? I mean, so I'm kind of trying to like lean into that. Like, oh, if you didn't notice, I'm a character actor. So like, pretty much like, what kind of character do you want? Oh, you want a fat retarded one with a bald head and like a, sorry, that's a bad word, but you know what I mean? But it's streaming, I'm canceled.
Not at all.
But you know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. It's a physical condition.
Yeah.
But the point being, you can play any role, and that's the trajectory
We're
that you want them on. Exactly, precisely. That's fantastic.
It's frustrating.
Well, of course it's frustrating. I mean, who doesn't get frustrated constantly having to be torn down?
In every job, in your normal job. Oh, Bob's been the cashier the whole time. Do we really think we can move him into management?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. We all get people pigeonhole everybody in almost every job. Oh, well, he's the truck driver. I don't know if he can get by in there and actually run the show, or and people, they see what you do and they think that's all you can do, and until we get a chance to prove them,
Unfortunately, it's constantly proving yourself, but it's more important to already have proven it to yourself, I think, is the point. That you need to just verify and trust in yourself. I think that's a great message, everybody. It's like, hey, we got real deep here, y'all. This is awesome.
It's like therapy.
Dig it, right? Yeah, this is a post-COVID. This is what
Everybody
happens. We're gonna group hug later. Don't worry, this is gonna be a big thing. I know, right? Now, are there any characters, bring it back to horror a little bit.
Okay.
Are there any characters within the genre you would like to play specifically? In its entirety?
Well, I feel like, I don't know if it's horror, I feel like there's going to be an Epstein biopic.
Oh, yeah.
And I need to play Ghislaine Maxwell.
So
Right?
perfect.
I mean, not with this humidity. I don't even know who I am right now, but I can totally look like her, for better or for worse. I feel like I've got a Amy Winehouse in me,
Strong.
right? I think I like to play Hillary Clinton. You know, I don't know if
So-
the world wants to see that, but I you know, I don't know. I think I feel like there's some real life characters out there that I'd like to see.
Yeah, that's great. And we could definitely tie the Epstein to horror.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Yes.
Ross?
I've always wanted to play Leatherface.
Oh,
That'd be a lot of fun. And just like going back into like the origin of those guys. And also the Shining. If they ever do like a Shining reboot, that would be
the Jack Torrance.
Jack Torrance. They got face down.
Ooh, strong.
Killing people left and right, break up the baseball bat, I think it'd be fun.
That's fantastic. Dig it. That's great. Right? Yeah, right?
Any sort of villain, like, I don't get a chance because I'm Leo, right? I just don't even get to audition for it or try for it, is being, the bad guy, the villain, be a vampire, be whatever. I like to pretend murder people.
Well, that's
Which
how
I've
we
done once
don't.
or twice, I know.
That's how we don't real murder people.
Being some kind of serial killer is kind of my deal. I watch a lot of Forensic Files. Yeah. Like a lot. Like I fall asleep to it. Man, I could probably be a Dahmer. I don't know. Come on in. How are you? I feel like I have that little creepiness there.
Well, I
Not
think
me,
it's fair.
but,
No.
in me.
It's
In me.
in the bag. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you doing later? I think playing some kind of serial killer villain is just be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, not fun, but it'd be fun.
And now within the horror genre, was there anything growing up that you specifically attached to? Any ones that you were like, oh, that was my jam?
I am late to the game. First off, so my parents were like uber cultured. We watched exclusively because, television rots the brain, which is why I've dedicated my life to it. But we watched exclusively Sunday Morning with Charles Kuralt, and Cosmos with Carl Sagan.
Yep.
So it was like just real, like absurdly highbrow and cool, but consequently, while other kids are out, drinking and smoking, I was like hiding sitcoms, like sneaking the Cosby Show, which is creepy on its own. But anyway, so there's like all of this television that I just miss. Like people are like, who are you? Like, why do you know like Baroque composers of 1600 and you don't know, Leo from Charmed? You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's all this. Yeah, I'm terrible at like pop culture. Oh, I'm great at like, certain categories I really kill, and then others
Well, then if not on the actual television or movie, was there any books or anything that influenced you in that direction?
So I did not see horror for the longest time, and so I know I didn't like grow up with it. It's obviously horror has embraced me, and because we actors are so insecure and desperate for love, because you love me, I love you back. And besides, I'm not gonna bite the hand that feeds me. But I've come around, and I would say my favorite horror movies though are like the Rosemary's Baby and The Shining and Clockwork Orange and The Birds, and sort of a little more
Thriller, less slashy?
yes, definitely, and don't love gore. Maybe more vintage kind of classic horror would be my choice.
Fantastic.
But anyway, that's only literally like I'm allowed to see it now. I can watch whatever I want.
I'm a big girl.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Ross?
Rosemary's Baby and The Shining are two of my favorites, but Jacob's Ladder. Not a lot of people talk about it, which is funny because I think that's Tim Robbins' best performance. I love that movie so much. And who's Danny Aiello? Oh my God, Danny Aiello in that is like, have you seen it? Oh my, you
You
gotta.
see Jacob's
Am I
Ladder?
allowed? Am I old
Oh,
enough?
you-
No,
You'll freak out.
I think-
Are my parents
It's one
watching?
of the weirdest. It's Adrian Lynn, right?
It's a trip.
I think directed it. I think Adrian Lynn, but like it's one of the most bizarre, nuanced, like strange films that just came out of nowhere, and I think it was like 1990 or somewhere in there, and it's just amazing. If you guys get a chance, Jacob's Ladder is awesome. But yeah,
It'll scare you.
it'll
That's
scare you.
awesome.
In the subway with
Yeah. No, it's just like I like psychological horror. I like to your point. I don't. It's funny because I work in The Walking Dead, but like even though we have crazy gore on that show, I don't love gore. I just don't. Like I like horror that gets in your head and makes you think for months and months after.
Well, because
years.
then you're stuck and you still have to
Exactly.
go to sleep and do the same
Yeah.
thought. It's
Exactly.
trapped there, yeah.
If it's gore, you're like, oh, that was awful and visceral, and that was gross, but like it doesn't like stick with you as much.
Right.
I think the psychological horror is the best kind.
Scary.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer,
Yeah,
Brian.
of course, yeah.
Well, I think I told you yesterday, you know, I watched The Exorcist as a child, and, you know, it really changed my life. I couldn't watch the horror, scary movies ever. And I couldn't. I still can't. I'm the guy that turns it on, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to watch this, like, and then I'll just pace in my bed. I'm like, I can't stop watching it. Yeah, the lights are on. Like, I can't go to bed now. So, you know, I'm more into the thrillers and stuff, but you know, all of it still just. And I'm an actor. Like, it's like, duh, this is fake blood, fake person, fake thing, and I'm just in it. Like, so I try to stay, you know, pretty much away from it. And, you know, I can't do devil movies. I can't do possession movies. You know, I need a little more, if I'm going to do horror comedy with it, you know, like lots of blood. Oh, sure, you know. But
The
I like
absurd
thrillers.
spray that's too fast and too far. every
Yeah,
day.
it's like, oh, that was funny, murder. You know, it's not really possessed. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't watch a ton of it because I got freaked out and it scarred me. And I want to thank my dad for that. You know, that's why I'm an actor. I need a hug.
Once again, the group hug thing later. So that's coming.
This is why I played an angel.
It's that angelic face, right?
That's
Huh?
We have a question.
Oh, we have a question. Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering, who does a better Christopher Walken impression, the moderator or Ross?
I don't know.
Christopher walking it up.
Wow, you just. Oh, I think we were gonna leave. I was like.
Oh, we have a
Just ask the question and mic drop.
yeah. We have a plant. Awesome.
Wow, let's hear it. What do you got?
I don't know. It's okay. Every once in a while, just talking here with you guys is fantastic.
Guys, how are we? We feel good.
Everyone
Here's the
looks so
thing.
good.
About walking, you just have to talk very slow and then very fast and go gravelly and then, I don't know, what are you doing?
I'd say it's strong. The guy, he knows his stuff. You know, he's been around for a minute or two. So he just, yeah, he's a champion over here. I gotta give it to him. What do you guys think, Ross? Right, everybody. Oh, yeah, great. Thank you to my partner. Not a problem. So next question. Naomi, you brought up a little bit about what you have coming up in upcoming projects. Is there anything else you've got coming up that you want to talk about, that you're very excited about, that you want people to hear about?
Well, you already know there's things I can't talk about.
Like blood pooling in the eye.
I think what I can talk about is this show, because I own it. It's mine. It's called American Horror Story with a W. It's a anthology series of autobiographical tales of self-compromise. So now you know, I'm not just using it like as a kitschy, cute, you know, because it's close to the, you know, original. It's actually about that, you know, hustling. So it's you know, I have 2 other solo shows that I did prior to this one, which did very well in their own way. Like they went to the Edinburgh Fringe and London's West End and off Broadway. But you know, since then I've had a Spanish teacher. And so I'm hoping to go much bigger with this. You know, I'm hoping that we'll all be Netflixing and chilling and watching it as a 1 hour comedy special. That's my plan for
That's
it.
fantastic.
So, but
That's
I
awesome.
you know, what do I know?
Oh, well, I hope for the best. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Keep pushing and keep
How
going.
funny is it?
Oh, well,
How funny is it?
you can tell me, Linda, you were there. You watched, I gave her, this is my dear friend from Los Angeles, actually, but who lives here now.
But I do want to make a point is that what she's done is say, okay, I am really funny and I'm good at these other things, so I'm going to make it happen for myself, and I'm not going to wait for Hollywood to come knocking and say, gee, we know we pigeonholed you, but now we're going to give you carte blanche. She's doing it.
That's fantastic.
See, I had a plan too.
This is great. Where's Ross's? Like, we got so many plans coming up.
Right? Where's my family member?
Yeah. So Ross, what do you got coming up?
So I'm going to be in the new Star Wars movie. I'm totally joking.
Oh.
He was trying to run out. He's pushing for it.
I just got so
Put it out
jealous.
there in the universe.
I'm like, you are?
Keep it in the being.
Oh my God, Simon.
Yeah. We can't talk about anything we do in
No.
this industry anymore. It's like, I remember, you did Mad-Men too, right?
Yeah.
And I did an episode of Mad-Men, and I remember, I'll never forget this, like, I told Facebook that I auditioned for the show, and that got me in so much deep shit.
Mhm.
And they were like, you can't say that. I mean, it was crazy. And so I've just learned from that experience, like, and I never respected, they're trying to keep the privacy and everything, but like, I just learned from that, like, do not say anything. Because you sign away your life on these things and they can sue you. So you're just like, yeah, I mean, I wish I could say stuff that I'm working on, but I can't, you know? There's one thing that I'm working on that's really cool, but I can't talk about it. But really just the show is kind of taking over my life, so.
I mean, totally understandable.
Yeah,
It is huge.
it's-
So,
yeah,
yeah, when
so-
you're in epic things, I assume it takes epic amounts of time.
It's 14 months of shooting for the last season, so it's gonna be a long.
How many episodes?
24.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're doing.
The new 24, you're in the new 24.
That'd be great. No, yeah, so. And Star Wars. And this. No. We're doing.
Sign this and this.
We're doing Step Brothers 2, the two of us. It's gonna be awesome. You're gonna love it. No, I mean, that's just the show, pretty much, that's it.
Yeah.
What do you-
Not in Star Wars. Yeah, I'm going to film a movie next week. It's a small thing a friend wrote. That's why I'm going to go full mullet. So what's up?
Appreciate the size and everything.
I'm going for it, man. Like, why not?
It's
Right?
awesome.
Why not? I rocked it in the late 80s,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of going to go back to it because, you know,
Why
I
not?
got girls then. I just had a show that came out on Roku. I don't know if you guys watch Roku. It's called Cypher. It's a crime drama, FBI drama, like kind of a whodunit. That just came out. And besides that, it's, you know, audition, job to job, and trying to love myself.
Well, now that we're out of COVID, it sounds like a lot of things are moving forward, and that's fantastic. And I hope all your projects moving forward are wildly and incredibly successful. So hope for the best for that. Does anyone have any questions? Last checks. All right, now we're talking.
Why I'm 24. Oh.
So, for Naomi,
Uh-huh.
Freak Show, the episode Orphan really touched me. What was the most difficult scene for you to film?
I think probably the last one, only because the things that make you cry the first day of shooting are different than the things on the 10th day of shooting. You know what I mean? So you start, at first I would just open the script and read 30 seconds worth, and and I was like, let's go, and then, now I'm thinking about when my dog died, and now I'm thinking about like a fictitious dog if I had it. It's like by the end, I think I was just like crying because I was tired. It's like it's just not the thing. also, let's face it, Jessica Lange is like just a geyser who was having to cry on cue every day of her last 4 years, you know what I mean? Whereas I was, for the first, 6 months leading up to that, playing the string and delivering the fat lady food. And, Pepper was kind of, a not background player, but she wasn't, Elsa Mars. She wasn't in the front center. And so all of a sudden to be front and center and knowing that I needed to suddenly be a geyser without, having done that in a while. I won't say never. I once got caught in an interview saying that I'd never done drama before I, auditioned for American Horror Story. And of course, then that's when my whole, college came after me like, what are you talking about? We were theater majors. We did, Chekhov, Ibsen, we did all the drama. So, it's not that I hadn't done that. It had been 20 years. So I think, I think finding tears after you've exhausted all your means to find them. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And we had one more.
Yeah.
My question is for all three of you guys. If you could choose another character to swap places with on your show, who would it be and why?
Awesome question.
I think I would say, if a character, Myrtle Snow, for her wardrobe. I've always loved her look. But that said, I probably would also swap all the roles that Frances Conroy plays. I don't know what it is. She plays such cool, quirky, complex characters. They're never just, none of the characters on American Horror Story are all good or all bad. They're all kind of multi-layered. That's what's so kind of genius about them. But I feel like she somehow, I don't know if she makes them amazing or if they are amazingly, she does make them amazing. But also I think they're really great on the page. So yeah, I'd just be Frances Conroy.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Ross.
I usually say Shane because I just love what John Barenthal did with that performance, and I just think it's always more fun to play, like you're saying, complex, multi-layered characters who are a little bit bad. And I think Shane kind of rode that fine line of like, is he good, is he bad? Who can say in the apocalypse? You got to do stuff to survive. But I also would love to play Abraham because Abraham had the coolest lines. Like Aaron's very nice. He's a very nice guy. And he always is like, oh yeah, well here's this, and I'm going to show you around, and that's great. But like he had to say like bitch nuts, and like I never got to say bitch nuts. I'm just like very like polite all the time, and I just would like some cool dark lines, I guess. Yeah. So.
But they're both dead now, so.
That's true. right.
Thanks, Ross. Brian, what you got?
Probably Piper, because she married Leo. I can love myself endlessly. Balthazar, Julian McMahon's role of playing the devil, good guy, bad guy, what he did with it is so interesting. As you know, he's gone on to show after show, but the devil, kind of a sexy role, dangerous, but not, it would have been fun. But definitely Piper.
That's fantastic. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. So that's going to wrap up our panel for today. So we thank you very much. Let's give it up for everybody. Make sure to go visit. We got Brian, Ross, Naomi. Go visit them out there. If you haven't had a chance to get something signed or hang out with them for a bit, go over there and check them out. We appreciate it. Thank you all so much for everything you do and everything you've given us.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
have a good one.
Thank you guys.